Welcome back to the channel, guys. Glad to have you. Today's short talk is going to be about what I would do differently if I could go back to being 18 years old today. For context, I am in my early 30s now. At 18 years old, I had just moved out of my parents' house and moved in with my best friend, about 3 hours away from where I was raised. And I was trying to figure out if I wanted to finish college. I already had my associate's degree by the time I was 18. That's a totally different story. Trying to figure out if I wanted to finish college or if I wanted to go right into the job market. I was kind of taking a couple of years off to figure that out. And if I could go back, I think I would have done things a little differently. And there's three main things that I want to talk about today. Now, if you're new here, subscribe, give me a like, and hit the bell icon. I post new content here every single week. You don't want to miss it. So the first thing that I would do differently if I could go back to being 18 is I would at least consider learning a trade, getting some sort of certification so that I could get right into the job market as a semi-qualified person. There's lots of ways to do this. I might have gone the real estate route. Today, you can do all sorts of coding certifications, technical certifications that can help you get a job in tech, project management certifications. I've talked about a lot of this in some of my other videos. But I would learn a trade. I think there's a lot of people that would benefit from doing some sort of apprenticeship, learning some sort of concrete skill, becoming an electrician, becoming a plumber, whatever the case may be, construction. There are lots and lots of skills and trades in this world that desperately need people and will allow you to start making money now, allow you to start advancing your lifestyle now. So if I could go back, I think I would instead decide to get my real estate license, as crazy as that sounds, and I would try my hand at real estate. Now, I'm not saying that I would have been successful, but that's not really the point. I think it would have taught me a lot about myself, whether I was successful or not. It would have taught me a lot about what it meant to operate in the world as an adult, as opposed to operating in the world as a child. The obstacles that you're gonna face, the mistakes that you're gonna make, and how to pick yourself up off the ground without the help of your parents. That's a skill that you're gonna need to learn as early as possible. And even though I don't totally dislike the way that I did things, I did go on to finish my bachelor's degree in business, and I don't regret that at all. I think there's many routes to success. And I think learning a trade is a really, really good one. So if I could go back to being 18, I probably would have tried that. Even if it was only for a couple years, I would have tried to go straight into the job market in that way, and probably on an entrepreneurial basis. That takes me to the second thing that I would have done if I could go back to being 18, 19 years old, is I would start a business. Now, again, I'm not saying that this business would be super successful. I'm not saying, well, I would have started a business and that business would have taken off and now I'd be a multimillionaire. That's not what I'm saying. I think that there's a lot of lessons to be learned from being an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur. I have a lot of small business owners in my family, sort of in my orbit. And I don't understand why at the time I was so scared of doing something like that. I think I just felt I was not qualified at all. I felt like, well, I need all of these years of experience and education in order to start a business, when really that's not true. You just need to be 18 years old and be able to open an LLC on the internet. Anybody can start a business. That is a piece of advice that I would give a young person. I don't think it's important what the business is. It should be something that you enjoy, something that you think that you could be relatively good at, or maybe it's something that you don't know that you're good at. That's an equally good choice as well. Again, the point is the journey and the point is the learning experience. And I think it would have ripped the Band-Aid off of this like nervous, scared feeling around being an entrepreneur that I think a lot of people feel, and myself definitely, I identify with that, definitely have felt and do feel that sometimes. It can be very vulnerable, I think, to start your own business and decide you're gonna do your own thing. In my last video, we were talking about the advantages of being young. And one of those advantages is having a lot of time to make mistakes. And so if I could go back, I would have been actually even more risk-taking than I already was. I think there were a lot of people in my life that felt like I took a lot of unnecessary risks anyway. I actually would have doubled down on that. I would have taken more risks. I would have put myself out there more, would have been more vulnerable with my time and my resources, because I think I would have accumulated a lot more lessons a lot younger. The third thing that I would do if I could go back to being 18, and honestly, this one really hurts me. It hurts me that I didn't do this one. I would do whatever I could to buy the smallest, cheapest, most broke down piece of property that I could, and I would have gotten myself on the property ladder earlier. Again, not because I think I could have grown to create some real estate empire. Maybe I could have, but maybe not. I would have done that because it would have taught me the lessons of what it means to buy and own property, the responsibilities and obligations associated with that much earlier. It would have taken the fear, again, out of the concept of buying property and being a property owner. And it doesn't have to be, when I say property, I don't mean like some huge piece of acreage. It literally could just be a tiny, small, crappy studio apartment, right? Any small piece of property that I could have possibly afforded, I should have done it. I should have done it. I actually regret that one. There's a lot of tax advantages to be held from holding property, living in that property, and then eventually selling that property, right? You won't pay a lot of taxes if that property has been your primary residence during the time that you have owned it. And I would have taken advantage of a lot of that stuff if I could go back. I think that that would have put me farther ahead financially. It would have given me a lot more self-confidence, right? To know that I can do these big, hard adult things and get through them, whether the path is easy or whether the path is difficult. It would have built my self-confidence to know I can do this. I can start a business, right? I can take L's. I can handle setbacks. I can dust myself off and try again. Or if it went well, it's like, I'm 19 years old and I own a piece of property, right? That will put you so much farther ahead. I think a lot of people do exactly what I ended up doing, which is waiting until they're 30 at least, right, to buy a house because they feel like they need the perfect house, and the perfect job, and a certain amount of perfect stability. The reality is all of that is an illusion. You can put yourself on the property ladder as early as you want, and I definitely think that you should. If you have not seen my last video about the worst piece of advice that I got when I was a young person, you should definitely check that out. It goes hand in hand with what we're talking about today, which is all about taking chances and using your youth and your time to your advantage. All right, guys, that's it for me today. We will catch you in the next one.